Welcome back to Rush Hour. We're taking a live look right now at the White House, where President Biden just announced a new press secretary. Karine Jean-Pierre will be replacing Jen Psaki, who's stepping away from her position next week. Psaki's held that press secretary role since President Biden took office. Also happening, a new scandal surfacing for North Carolina Congressman Madison Cawthorn. Just weeks before he runs for re-election, will it hurt him in the polls, or will his stance with Trump still pull him through? Our D.C. insider, Washington Bureau Chief Mike Viqueira joins us now live. So, Vic, let's start with Jean-Pierre becoming the new press secretary. What have you heard about her on Capitol Hill?
Well, I think she's very well respected, as is Jen Psaki, among the press corps and a lot of the politicos here in Washington. But what really strikes me about this entire arrangement is that the D.C. revolving door, Nichole, is turning faster and faster. The quaint notions of conflict of interest, journalistic ethics, the old-fashioned notion of objectivity on the part of journalists and journalistic organizations, media organizations, well, it's antiquated as perhaps the prehistoric era before cable news. Today, as you report, the White House made it official. Karine Jean-Pierre becoming the press secretary, the second press secretary of the Biden administration, notably the first black woman to be standing at the podium, the first openly LGBTQ person to be standing at the podium as well. But it's Jen Psaki who was reportedly negotiating with our friends at MSNBC for a job as soon as she leaves the podium that really is raising a lot of eyebrows here. And talking about it today with me, welcome to our luxurious rooftop NewsNation studios, Nichole Berlie. And who better than to talk to the White House columnist for The Hill about what's happening at the White House and the personnel here. So the revolving door, I mean, what is the problem as you see it? I know how I see it, but what is the problem with White House staffers who are the public face of the White House negotiating while they're standing there and answering questions from representatives of the organizations that are supposed to be grilling them? And they're sitting in the front row, she's behind the podium, and now she's probably going to go work for them.
I think you really hit the core of the matter when you said, while they're working there.
Yeah.
That is really the problem where Jen Psaki is concerned. There's a very long history, as you're well aware, of people moving between politics and the media. But there is generally some cooling off period, quarantine period, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. In Jen Psaki's case, she has been negotiating TV deals, and there were other suitors as well as MSNBC, while she was press secretary. That does, I think, cause a problem with appearance. It suggests, whether true or not, that she has an interest in catering to those organizations, and those organizations that are interested in hiring her have an interest in treating her gently.
It's a legitimate question of a potential conflict of interest. I mean, after all, the job of the reporters there, I know them, full disclosure. I sat in that seat for many years. They're supposed to be holding people like Jen Psaki's feet to the fire. It sort of makes it very awkward, to say the least. But you're right. Nicole Wallace and Dana Perino from the George W. Bush administration, Kayleigh McEnany, of course, from the Trump administration. They all have TV gigs now. They're all sitting behind the anchor desks. Years before in the Clinton administration is George Stephanopoulos, and years before that, Diane Sawyer, who went on to fame at ABC News. But you're right, there was more of a lag time there between them. And so, you know, what is the job? Why is it so important of the integrity of the press secretary to be preserved, the integrity of the people in that room on the other side of the podium to be preserved?
Well, for a start, we're not working from a position where there's some great reservoir of goodwill when on the part of the public toward politics and the media. There is, I think, a suspicion that politicians and the media are too close with each other, can be too cozy with each other. And I think
just like last weekend at the White House Correspondents' Dinner,
which I have never gone to because of that reason. I've taken the moral high ground, which is quite rare for me.
I wish I could say that.
But in any event, that I think is the problem.
Yeah, I started going to the White House briefings in the prehistoric age when somebody named Marlin Fitzwater for the George H.W. Bush administration way back in 1991 was standing at that podium. The job has changed in some ways. There are cameras now, which the Clinton administration opened up to, and it's really become more of a spectacle than anything else. I will say that the Biden administration has gone back to daily briefings, which the Trump administration obviously did not. What's your take on the function there?
I think there is still a lot of combat, some of it that is rather ersatz and done for the cameras, and we see that even now. But there's no question that it is a more orthodox relationship between press and President Biden's representatives than it was when President Trump was in office. During the Trump presidency, you had a much more combative, hostile atmosphere.
When there was actually a briefing, which happened about once every 2 months, I think. Okay.
Right.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.